What's up, y'all? It's the Life Partner Gang here. I'm James.
I'm Tina.
And we are back with y'all with another episode. It's that gang. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about some interesting topics today. Shout out to my lovely wife over here, looking cute with her lips all prettied up.
Thank you. Wait, before we go too far, make sure you guys hit the pause button, subscribe, whether you're listening or watching, because we want to make sure you stay connected with us and get all the notifications whenever we drop a new episode.
They don't have to hit the pause button to subscribe.
Yes, so they can focus.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, make sure y'all subscribe. Follow us on social at Life Partner Gang on all of the social media platforms. Love to hear y'all engaging in the comments, leaving us reviews in the different app stores, and really appreciate y'all support. So keep it coming. We'll keep coming with the episodes, but definitely y'all keep checking us out as they come through. And if there are ever topics or things you guys want to hear us talk about or bring to light, then let's chop it up and make sure we're having those conversations too.
Yes.
But today we want to get into a conversation about 50-50, and this combo is funny because anytime I hear people talking about it online, it's always controversial.
Well, 50-50 in what?
Well, 50-50 in relationships.
What's that?
Yes, you would say that.
What's that?
But there's always this like very heated conversation from both men and women about 50-50, and I think there's a couple of lenses that we should talk about it from. It should be from dating. Okay. And like the courting situation and what 50-50 looks like there. And then there's also 50-50 when you're married in a relationship, life partnership, whatever it is, and what 50-50 looks like there. Okay. And I know you have very strong opinions about it, and I also have very strong opinions about it. So I want to get into it. And for me, I want to start on the dating side with you. And this is really sparked and inspired by one of my homegirls. So my homegirl, Brittany, she had hit me yesterday, and she was like, shout out to Britt. She was like, yo, I'm in Texas. Where all the rich men at? And I was like, well, first of all, like, how about a wholesome dude? Like, why you got to be rich? And she was like, well, I'm in Houston. I'm like, well, I didn't live in Houston, so I don't know where they hang out at in Houston. If you was in Dallas, maybe I could point you in the right direction. But I said, again, forget his bank account. How about a wholesome dude first and then the money? And she was like, Nah, I'm tired of looking for that because these ninjas out here want you to pay 50-50 on everything. And I was like, what? She was like, they keep asking for 50-50 this and 50-50 that. And she was like, my philosophy is if I was doing 100% before you came around, why I'm just going to do 50-50 and you're here now? It doesn't make any sense. And so I couldn't disagree with her. I agree. But from your vantage point, like, how do you feel about 50-50, and specifically when you're like in the courting phase or the dating phase? Like, would you go on a date with a man who's expecting you to pay half?
So, am I talking about like 20-year-old Tina or 30-year-old Tina? Am I talking about like in today? Because I can see it with two different brains. Or two different frames of mind.
Well, let's go back. I thought it would have been the same for both. Let's go back to 20-year-old Tina.
When we started dating at I was 22. Hell no. You want to take me out on a date, you pay for that date. As you know, especially the first date. There were times that we went out during our dating phase that like I treated you, which was fine. But like first, date, you want to make an amazing impression. I feel like the first date should be that. If, God forbid, if I were in the dating world today with some of the horror stories that I've heard and just the unconventional ways that people are even coming about meeting one another, if the first date wasn't necessarily a first, maybe it was a first coffee date or a first, I don't know, appetizer situation, something where it's not super boom, a traditional first date. Yeah. I can see going Dutch on that, just to see how you guys vibe in person and whether or not, that meeting was enough for you guys to want to go on a full-fledged date.
Even if you were invited to that?
Even if I was invited. I mean, and because I just feel like I don't like making people feel or be able to feel like I owe them anything. Sorry, right. I got tongue tied. So, go, because you could do the least for people, or people could do the least for you and still feel like they did the world. And it's like, you bought me a cup of coffee, relax. So I could see going Dutch on like a first encounter or a first meetup, especially if you met in an unconventional way on social media, on a dating app, you know, through a friend of a friend, but you never had any type of in-person interaction and you want to be able to fill each other out in person.
Right.
I could see going Dutch on that. But a first date, I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Okay. That's actually interesting. So then that was 20-year-old Tina.
Well, 20-year-old Tina ain't paying for nothing. 30-year-old Tina would pay
30,
for
so 30-year-old Tina is
a
more
first meetup,
reasonable
not
for a
necessarily
first
the first date.
Okay. And then so for me, especially having a daughter, I am going to teach her that if she's invited anywhere,
He should pay for it.
that he should pay for it. If he wants you to be there, if he wants your attention, if he wants your time, then he should pay for that.
To that, I say, you know, you teach her that, but mama gonna make sure she know always go prepared to pay, because these ninjas be tripping.
Well, that's the other thing I'm going to teach her, because we going to have to vet out the screening process. Because if you think that a dude is even potentially going to try to hit you with that, then nah, you shouldn't even be out there with that person for whatever. And I would say, even with what you said, like, and I get it, that's your perspective, and I think some men would appreciate like you being willing, like, oh, if it's something casual, then like you aren't obligated to pay for me. But me as a man, I'm not inviting you anywhere if I'm not going to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a cup of coffee, like I invited you out, I wanted your time. And that's what courting is. And that's what's wrong with these ninjas nowadays anyways, though. Nobody wants to court anymore. And the whole purpose of courting is to get to know somebody, to get to understand them, and then figure out if this is somebody that you want to spend your time with.
Yeah.
It's an investment of your time, your energy, and your money, Negroes. Catch the last part of that. It's an investment of your time, your energy, and your money. And you can't just do one without the others. And the debates and like, oh, she should be able to do this, or oh, she should be able to do it. Like, I don't want to hear any of that. Like, if you want to hang out with her, then pay for it. It's not that difficult. It shouldn't even be a debate.
So you all right with the $200 first date?
Yeah, like I just, again, like, and at the same, like, I hear it too, some dude's gonna be like, yo, you a herb, you capping for the girls. First of all, no, I'm not. Like, you got to ask your wage. So I'm okay with a $200 first date because I know what my bank account can support.
Yeah.
If you know that your bank account can't support a $200 first date, then don't go nowhere where they can rack up a $200 first date. Go to Applebee's. Go to
use a Groupon.
Yeah, use a Groupon. Like, when we ain't have any money, we wasn't out at like the finest of establishments or restaurants or whatever. Even though the first date I did,
you did kind of ball.
I did try to ball out for you then, you know, to try to, you know, hook you. But but if I had nothing today and $50 is what I could afford to be on a date, then that's just what I can afford.
Yeah.
And for all of you who are going to be like, especially it's dudes, because the dudes get so defensive with this topic. I don't know what's wrong with y'all nowadays. Like, who raised you Negroes? But y'all get so defensive, like, well, you know, everybody ain't got it like this or ain't got it like that, so I shouldn't be expected to do it. She should come with something too. No. If you ain't got it like that and you can't afford to date somebody, then your ass shouldn't be dating. Get your life together, bro. Like, it's simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be dating somebody if you ain't in the right financial situation to be doing so. Get yourself together first and then go out and have those dates.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So then take it back. Piggybacking on top of that. So back in your 20s, you know, it would have been a hell no for you, like non-starter to have to do that.
I'm not paying for nothing.
But so say hypothetical situation happens. You went into it. You didn't know that a guy was going to ask you at the end to pay for something. If he asked you, would there be any chance of a second date?
If you back then, if you asked me out on a
like the date was fire. Like,
first of all, the date could have been perfect, but if you wait until the end of the perfect date to spring on me that you want me to pay, you know, for my meal or whatever, Lose my number.
But how do you handle that situation though? So say you roll with him, right? Like he picked you up, y'all went on a date, and at the end of it,
There is somebody that I can call that can come and get me. I can Uber. I could in Atlanta. I could MARTA. I could do a lot of things versus let you take me home.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Now I'm with you on that because, like me personally, I think, and this is crazy coming from a guy who's a tech guy, but like I think the worst thing that could have happened to dating and relationships
Is Uber.
are Uber, Cash App, and Venmo.
Yep.
Because now these ninjas have the audacity to ask for half. Like they'll be at it's different. Like so it's a slick thing. So before it would be I guess it would be really embarrassing for a waitress to bring a bill out and you'd be like, yo,
2 credit cards.
and you put your card in there too so we could go half on it. Like, all right, now you don't have to do that. You could put your card in to pay for it, but then you could be like, yo, and matter of fact, he don't even got to ask you. He can just send you the request on Cash App.
I mean, you ain't got to accept it, but
you don't.
True.
But the audacity to
Yeah,
even ask somebody to
that's
do
wild.
that, like I feel like it's so wild.
If that's what's happening in the dating scene in 2020 or 2019 or whatever y'all out there doing, I'm sorry because that's wild.
It is wild, but it is happening though. So I'm not gonna say one of our friends' names was telling me about a dating experience that she had, and like the dude invited her out, and you know, one, he didn't order anything, so like he's sitting there, they out to eat or whatever, and Money doesn't order anything, and I want to say he was late. He might have been late to the situation too, but so she still goes through with the date. The whole nine, and then the one thing he is ordering is water, lemons, and sugar. So my man is making
lemonade.
he's making lemonade on the fly. They got lemonade on the menu. He doesn't want to order the lemonade. He's making lemonade on the fly. Oh. Now she's there. She got invited out on a date, so she's expecting to eat. So she orders her food so she could eat. Now, first of all, fellas, like it's mad crazy to go somewhere with somebody and to have them eating in front of you and you won't order anything. But, you know, her being her, she like, well, I came out. I'm about to get me something to eat. So at the end of it, though, like, homeboy did not want to pay for her food.
He was like, you ate all that.
He was like, you ate that. Like, all I ordered was some water. So he doesn't have a bill in his mind. Like, I only ordered water and I made my own lemonade here on the fly. So the thing that you ordered, you need to pay for that. And when she was telling me this, I was blown away because I was like, nah, yo, you lying. This isn't real life. Like, nobody would really do this thing. And she was like, dead ass. Like,
wow.
And like, in that situation, as a woman, how do you not just walk up out of there, like, never say nothing, delete numbers? Like,
you have to, because that's a lot. Like, I'm appalled and it didn't even happen to me. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you out there doing that, like, first of all, that's like, it's so many first of alls in that, but just no. Just don't. Just stay home.
Yeah.
Because what did you come out for?
And I mean, you
came out to drink lemonade. You can talk to me on the phone and drink homemade lemonade or whatever you thought that was. Like, what are you doing?
We can FaceTime.
You can't possibly tell me that you had a good time sitting there watching somebody else eat and then having awkward conversation, because it's gonna be awkward if you're ordering and the other person isn't and they're making homemade lemonade. Like, it's an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be an awkward exchange. So what did you come out for?
And like me, like, I wouldn't even have been able to sit there with a straight face with somebody like making homemade lemonade at a spot where you could just order you some lemonade.
Yeah, because me being me, especially back then, I'd be like, son, are you in like a financial bind? Like, help me understand, why am I ordering food and you're not? Do you want some? Like, are you not going to be able to pay? Like, tell me what's going on. Yeah.
And then, you know, it was back to that, you know, I believe they had a conversation about it. And, you know, his whole thing was that played out excuse they give. Well, you know, like, I just wanted to do something informal and, I didn't really feel like we had to go and do this, and like you ordered that, so that should be on you. And like I've been used before by women who used me for a meal, and even that to me that's a played out excuse. First of all,
You know if somebody's into you.
you know if somebody's into you or not, and then secondly, like just like I would tell any woman like if a dude's not gonna pay, then you shouldn't be dating that dude. He's a sucker. On the flip side, if you dating women that only want to go out with you because they want a free meal, then they ain't shit either. Find somebody else. Like, why would you?
That really wants your time.
Yeah.
Or if you really wanted something informal to kind of just fill out that first exchange, don't plan a dinner situation. A coffee, an ice cream,
You'll get ice cream, walk around a
a
park.
pretzel, and walk around the park. Something, but don't say dinner. Dinner is not informal. I've never been invited to an informal dinner by a man.
Right. And then, but in that situation though, so, and she's not like this. She has her own money. She's successful, all of those things. But what if she was a woman who was going out that night and had no expectations of paying and maybe just had like her license and didn't have any money or her credit card or anything like that? And you just sitting here looking crazy because you won't pay? Like that, to me, that's just some sucker shit.
Yeah, but on the flip side, never go out nowhere with nobody,
Right. I mean, you got to be prepared.
Unprepared. You got to be prepared for the worst, especially these days, because you just never know. But that's wild. And I don't think I would be able to sit through an entire date with, I know I couldn't now, but I definitely don't think I couldn't in the way my stuff used to fly out of my mouth. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, what are you doing?
I don't like going to dinners or to meals with anybody at the table who can't eat.
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable if somebody comes out and they don't have money or
Birthday
whatever.
dinners and stuff. And it's like large birthday dinners, and you see it's always, no shade, but it's always that one person that's trying to like only order water.
Let me get some water. Let me get an appetizer.
And it's just like, just get what you want. I got you.
Yeah. Like that type of stuff makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. So I just think as men though, like, and maybe I'm old school in that regard, but there has to be some sort of accountability, and you stepping up as a man, as a king, to make sure that you are leading the way in this courting or this dating or whatever you're doing.
Because it sets the tone, and if that's the tone you about to set, I'm good.
And that's what when I see these little dudes on the internet who be like getting into these huge heated debates about this conversation, I just can't think about like, man, like y'all are never gonna be able to lead a household. You know what I mean? Like if you arguing right now about going 50-50 on Applebee's, how are you ever going to lead a household?
But those same men probably believe that everything financially in the household is supposed to be split 50-50.
Right.
So, they want, roommates.
And it goes to that too. Like, so let's get into that. I think that's a good segue and transition. So when you think about when you're dating somebody, like you're not even married at this point, you're just dating them. Like, is it okay for a man to be like, yo, we need to split everything down the middle? So like we got rent. The rent it's a stack. I need 500. The light bill is 100. I need 50. Like, how would you respond to that? Because for one, have I ever asked you to do any of that?
No, when we were dating and we lived together, we didn't split bills. You paid the rent and I would pay like the utilities, right? Isn't that what we did?
Sometimes.
I think.
I mean, but like if you
I think that's what we did.
It was never a thing like
but
the
if
bills
I
get paid.
yeah.
If you ain't have it, I'm gonna knock it out. But I never set out like, yo, these are your 4 bills. You need to do this, or the bills every month is $5,000. I need $2,500 from you. Like that was never
the thing.
Never our thing. So how would you respond to that? Like,
I mean, I've never had to respond to it, so I don't know. You're the only guy I've ever lived with, so, other than my dad. So I've never had to be faced with that situation. Right now today, because I am capable of paying, that's not how I saw my dad do things.
right.
You know what I mean? So it would be, it's still a foreign, I guess, concept to me. Not that I don't or, can't or shouldn't want to help, I guess, pay the bills. So it's not that I don't want to help pay bills, but it's just like, I was always taught that the man was supposed to provide. Not that I shouldn't provide too, but it's just
everybody has a role
like
to play.
it.
Yeah, and I think to your earlier point, right? It starts to feel like a roommate
Yeah.
or an arrangement. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
back in the day when
Maybe I'm
had,
spoiled. I don't know.
I don't even know that it's that. I think some people will say, like the younger folks will probably say you're spoiled, but I, to me that sounds like what I had back in the day when I had a roommate. You know what I mean? Like when I had roommates, we split the bills. Like me and my partner, we go half on the rent, we go half on the utilities, whatever, because that was our arrangement. We wasn't in a relationship. We homies who got a place together.
Yeah.
But when you are again trying to lead and be the
Man of the house.
man of the house, like, nah, that's not the conversation you should be having. And these dudes would be like, well, like, what's she here for? What's she supposed to do? There's something that everybody can do.
Yeah.
But if you go into this thinking that, oh, well, damn, like, I just need her. She can give me 50-50. I'm good. And like, you thinking about it the wrong way, bro.
Yes.
All the
Absolutely.
way. Like the absolute wrong way. And there's, I don't know, like my personal feelings, and again, call it old school. I'm very, I would say very like radical in my thoughts nowadays and about a lot of subjects and a lot of things. But when it comes to stuff like this and like chivalry and all of that, like I'm old school. And I think, hear me loud and hear me clear. Kings, God did not put y'all here to be asking a woman for 50-50. Let me say that again for you Negroes in the back who didn't hear me. God did not put y'all here to be asking a woman for 50-50. Cut that shit out, man. Like it's totally unnecessary.
You said that with your chest.
Yeah, because it's silly to me that I keep hearing people talk about this. Like, be a man. And that's the one thing that I think is changing about the world is like the notion of like what a man is. And like, no, I'm not talking like from a toxic masculinity standpoint or anything like that. Like, I'm just talking about making sure your woman is secure. And the only way she can feel like she's secure is if she can trust you to be the man, to do the things, to have her back, to not feel like, she always got to come with 50 cents for every dollar you bring to the table. And there will be situations where she's going to make more money than you, and that's okay too. But like, as a man, can you accept that as well? Like, it's just crazy to me with this whole, like, y'all getting an Uber together and you ask for half on the Uber. What? Negro, what? Like, it's an Uber ride. What you need half for?
Yeah.
So I just think, more and more like these kids, they move into that world. And I think if women allow it to become the norm, it's going to become the norm. I think
some women, and there is nothing wrong with the woman having her own mind, own career, own money. But I am never, my bag ain't never so big that I don't want to be taken care of. Take care of me. Okay? So, and I make my own money. I've never, not there's been periods in our relationships where I didn't have a job or was in between jobs, but overall I've never not worked. But even now, please take care of me. I don't want to be your sugar mama. I don't care how much money I make. Please take care of me.
Nah, you know what
I mean? So I'm never so big that, you can't do for me.
Right.
Please do it.
Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think, and look, if you are a woman who doesn't want to be taken care of, that's okay too.
Yeah.
There are plenty of women who want that. Like, I'll go back to even, and this wasn't even somebody who, like, I was dating. This is a home girl. Like, all of us went to church years and years ago, and we all went to brunch. It was a group of us, and we tried to pay for the girls' food who was at the brunch. And this one particular girl who came, this is my homie, strictly platonic, never like pushed up on her, nothing, like never looked at her like that. She was like, no, y'all ain't paying for my shit. Like, she caused a scene at the spot, because I was like, yo, relax, we'll pay for it, whatever. And like, she was adamant. And I don't know if like something had happened in the past where a dude paid for something and that dude felt like he owed her something, But like this is back when I was young too. Like she irritated me so much in that situation. I never invited her out with us again because I was like, yo, this is how you act when we just trying to be
Right.
nice and do, what
But
men do.
that can happen. Like no movie date, no coffee date, no dinner date, no bouquet of flowers, no nothing that you choose to buy for somebody makes them owe you anything.
Facts.
Especially not a part of their body.
100%.
Like, be clear. Like, it's
Yeah, and that's the perspective I'm coming from. Because then a lot of y'all dudes, especially y'all young ones who haven't grown up yet, y'all look at it like, well, if I'm swiping my card or I'm
she owe me
paying for
some
something,
buns.
she owe me the
No.
buns. No, she doesn't, bro. Like again, this goes back to being the man. If you are being the man and you handling your business and you doing what you're supposed to do, you don't have to do anything extra for that.
Yeah.
Because those things will come. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna be so flattered, so enamored with how you're showing up and showing out and showing your appreciation and how much you want to be with her and you want her energy and you want her time. The buns will come, bro. I promise. You don't have to go and do nothing. But if everything is transactional with you, you ain't gonna get shit. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna be mad because it's
Or are you gonna get the kind of women that only want to go out with dudes because they want to pay for food?
right. But she ain't gonna give you no buns neither. She gonna get her meal and then she not gonna talk to you no more.
Right.
Or she gonna ghost you. And then you're gonna be tight when you see, her on IG, her on Snapchat with the next dude, and this dude probably throwing all kind of money, spending all kind of money, and you like, oh, he a herb, he just bought it. No, he didn't buy it, sucker. Like he just did what he's supposed to do. Like he
Yeah.
showed up like a man should do and made sure the woman that he's courting feels comfortable and protected and knows that she don't have to argue with you about 50-50, half on a Uber or a Lyft, or you Venmoing or Cash Apping at the end of a date. Like, and of any of my friends who are watching, especially you single ones, if I ever hear anything about any of you Negroes asking a woman to send you half after a date, our friendship is over, bro. Like, I just can't get down with dudes like that. It's unacceptable to me. And I think that's how I'm going to raise our kids, our sons.
Yeah.
Like, you ask a woman out, then
And ladies, please don't. I mean, I don't know. Everybody has to do what's best for them. But like, come on. Well, at least if my sisters are listening, what you not going to be out here doing is going 50-50 on dates.
no. To my sister-in-laws too. If I catch any of y'all
Don't do it.
going
Reconsider.
50-50 on dates, like we gonna have a serious problem because
Right.
it's unacceptable. And again, this only becomes the norm if women allow it to become the norm. So don't allow these little boys who out here pretending like this is the new age. Y'all are old school.
New age women
This
go
is
Dutch.
the new way of doing it. Nah.
Oh.
Like let's make sure we taking care of what we supposed to take care of, and then everything else will take care of itself after that.
Mm.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we hit all the points when it comes to like the courting
dating.
side and the dating side of things, but there's a whole another side of it, which is, when you actually married to somebody and 50-50. And 50-50 doesn't just talk about like the finances of it all. Like I want to get into like, is 50-50 a real thing? Like are both people coming at it half and half and coming together in a relationship? And I see you shaking your head no. So let me hear your thoughts on that, boo.
There's never a time where a relationship is just going to be 50-50. Somebody is always going to be doing more, carrying more, just depending on the season that you're in your life, especially once you add kids to the mix. But there's career, there's kids, there's household responsibilities, there's financial responsibilities. It's just not realistic for it to be split down the middle all the time. You working like crazy. We kept having babies. And then there was the house. There was no way that, sorry, y'all, there was no way that you could carry your workload the way you were. And, me being home with small children and still working. And then, or you paying the bulk of the bills and then expecting me to come home and be home and carry the weight of keeping the house clean or keeping the house neat and things like that. Or you working like crazy and being able to keep the yard and everything the way that it needed to be. It's not realistic. I mean, to those who think that being home with kids is just like the easiest thing in the world and you should have all this time to do all of these things because you're home with the kids. It's literally the exact opposite of everything you think. It's impossible, to be honest. And I think we're all learning that now.
2020 proved that to be false.
It's you can do nothing with these kids at home. You can barely think with these kids at home. So, shout out to all the stay-at-home moms and the work-at-home moms that was doing it long before Corona hit, because sis, we see everything that you've been going through and we don't know how you stay sane this long. But you just cannot do whatever. You can do anything, but nobody can do everything. And I think what allows, marriages to stay energized or refreshed or whatever, you want to call it, is understanding that when to add help and knowing, how to tip the scale back and forth, because it can't be 50-50 all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say 50-50 is bullshit. I don't think it really exists in relationships, because to your point, there's always going to be somebody that's doing something or needs more. And it's like a scale, right? And like the scale tips back and forth, just depending on the situation, what's happening in y'all's lives.
It depends on the day, to be honest.
The day, yeah. Because there are days where, like, I got to step up and do more, because I can tell like you're pouring from an empty cup. And there are days where you got to step up and do more, because you could tell like, he's stressed out. He got this going on. He got that going on.
Right.
Like, he might just give me 20 today and I'm going to push the other 80. And then the next day it could be back where I'm giving the 80 and you giving the 20, or it could be close to the 50-50. But if you go into a relationship thinking like everything is just going to be split down the middle 50-50, like you're setting yourself up for failure and disappointment, because that shit's just not real.
And even beyond that, in Texas, because we knew we had too much going on with your work, me working, Zoe being a fairly new baby, we had a crazy huge yard. It was our first time in a house what was the house? 4,000 square feet?
Yeah.
So it was our first time in a house that large. And when you've gone from, that house was 2 times the size of anything we have ever lived in. And while it was a big, beautiful house, it was a big, beautiful house that needed to be cleaned. Then we had a huge yard that needed to be maintained. And we didn't have time for that. So thankfully we were in the position to be able to do it, but we had to come to the realization that we got to hire somebody to help.
Yeah.
Because it would give us more time to be able to pour into each other versus spending our extra time doing a yard and cleaning the house and doing all of this extra stuff that was just, it was just taking up too much time.
Because remember how excited I was in the beginning about the yard. Like I'm going to get out there and cut my own grass and I'm going to be doing whoop-de-whoop. That lasted a month. Like I got the lawnmower, I got out there. And it's hot as hell in Texas, and the yard was so big, like it was a half a day thing, cutting the front, the back.
What was that yard, like a half an acre? It was huge.
You know what I mean? So that quickly got old, because I realized like, I'm already going really, really hard with work during the week, and then I get to the weekend and I'm giving up a whole half of a day to the yard. I could be spending that with you and the kids and the family. We could be doing something. So, all right, let me find somebody, a landscaping company that could come in and take this off of the plate. Then we found like mom's cleaning lady.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's get somebody here to help clean up the house, because we could clean it, but
it's gonna take up all the free time.
It's gonna take up the free time. And if our time is limited with each other, then we gotta make sure we can prioritize that. But again, that just goes to it. Like, I think some people really feel like, all right, well, when I get into a situation, like if I'm making all the money, then the other person needs to cooking and cleaning and making sure the kids is good. And it's like, that sounds great in theory, but it's just not like real. That. You know what I mean?
When we first got married, or when we first got engaged and married, I was the primary cook. And then we had Zoe, and I'm not the primary cook anymore. He's the primary cook. And it was, he enjoys cooking. It was something that he enjoys anyway, but I couldn't do it all.
Right.
I couldn't do it all with the baby that had to be, on my hip or strapped to me every 5 seconds. I couldn't do it all. Like, I have the clingiest children on the planet. So it was just not something that I could keep up with and, be sane. So he took that on, and he enjoys telling the kids that he cooks better than me because I almost never cook. If I get in the kitchen and start cooking, the kids are like,
What you
"What?
doing
Are
in
you
there?
sick?
Yeah,
Like,
what's
what's
wrong?
happening?" So it's something that he enjoys being able to do. But even beyond cooking, he's not above cleaning either. Like right now, we have to tag team the house, but like he's all the floors like in this house and in our old house when they needed to be cleaned. Hardwood floors have always been his thing. Laundry, bathrooms. If something needs to be cleaned, one of us is gonna clean it. It's not that I make all the money, so you need to do all the cleaning.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I
no.
think that it's that mentality that has to go away. Because I mean, and I think men we've fallen victim. I mean, well, we're not victim, but we've been guilty of that for many, many years because it was like the man brings home the bacon and the wife cooks it, whatever, right? And it's
Nah, he
like,
bring home the bacon and he cook
yeah,
it,
like bring it
even though he
home
don't
and
eat
cook
it.
it, and I don't eat it unless it's vegan bacon. But it's like you got to do what your household needs and what your spouse needs,
Yeah,
and you know
yeah,
what I'm saying. Like if you think about just for all of these years, we've prioritized my career. Like I was, making more money. I had gotten further along in my career. So we moved and we made decisions based on that. But now it's like, all right, your career, your business has grown tremendously. So I've had to say, all right, well, I need to take a step back. Like I'm not gonna work crazy hours all the time anymore because I know that there's things that she needs to do. On the weekends, I know that we gotta, she's a content creator. We gotta create content.
hello.
And if we can't create it during the week because I got something going on, because not only, do I work, but I work and then I run two companies on the side.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't have a lot of time as is anyways, but it's like, you know what? It can't all be about me anymore. Like this is important to her. This is her passion project. So whereas before it was like 70-30, swinging my way, when we get to the weekends, or even during the week too, it's like, she wants to create something, she wants to shoot something, I got to play photographer, all of these things, let's do it. Like I want to support your career because I want you to be successful and this is what makes you happy. So I'm going to give 80% to you so that you can have what you need and not be worried about, well, damn, like you don't support me in the same ways that I was for you. Like that's not a conversation I ever want to have because again, it's not 50-50. It's whatever the situation calls for at that time is
yeah.
what you should give to it.
And I give you that, and I appreciate you for that, especially like in all the craziness that we've been going on. There's never been like a random shoot, or I need you to come film this. I need you to come shoot this. You got what time you get off your call? Okay, I'm gonna be ready in 30 minutes. There's never been a moment that I've said I need you to come do this for me really quick, and you've been like, ugh, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I appreciate you
Yeah.
for showing up.
Cause you got dudes who'll be like, well, damn, like I want to go do this or I want to go do that. Like, and yes, I could go do those things too, but what are you gonna prioritize? What's most important to you? What's most important to me is making sure my family is good, and that just kind of goes back to this whole conversation. Like, if you are selfish, then you should not get married
Yeah.
and you should not have children. You know what I mean? Like it's simple and plain. I can't say it any clearer than that. If you are selfish, you should not have children and you should not get married because being in a relationship with someone for the rest of your life and having kids means you have to be selfless. You got to put them first.
All the
And
time.
it's not about you anymore. You know what I'm saying? And in our situation, like, well, it's about us, but it's not always about me. You know what I mean? Sometimes it has to be about her. And in situations where her, it has to be about me. And when you just think about the household, like I don't wake up and be like, man, like I really wish that, you would cook and then clean, wash my drawers and run my bath water and rub my feet and do my laundry and do this because you're the stay-at-home wife. To me, that like that world, that view of looking at you that way would discredit everything else that you have to bring to the household, being the wife, the mom, the entrepreneur, all of these different things. So I think we gotta show a greater appreciation for each other,
Yes.
just in general as people, and get out of this world where you gotta divide everything down the middle.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be any gender roles in the house.
Nah.
I mean, and granted, not too many out in the world either, but that I don't think that there's anything, gender. There's no household or parenting chore that's aside from breastfeeding. That's gender specific. Because just because y'all can't, I mean, you can give a bottle, but outside of that, change diapers, give baths, put clothes on, wash dishes, clean the floors, scrub toilets, whatever needs to be done, anybody can do it. Teamwork makes the dream work. And if the same way with tackling the kids, you tackle the kids together so that you can focus on each other, tackle the household responsibilities together so that you can focus on each other, because I'm way more willing to throw it back when I'm not tired.
Everybody is like that, and that's the thing. Like you have to understand that you got to be able to read. You know what I'm saying? Read the room, read your spouse, see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like, what is their mood? Like, are they frustrated? Are they stressed out? Like, what are they going through? And how do you meet them at that place where you can provide something for them? But again, you have to do that from a lens of not thinking about, well, damn, I did just, bring home, 20 racks this month. So,
And if you think you bring home so much money that she should be able to handle everything, then hire a housekeeper. Do you both a favor?
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, cause
if you making that much,
and understanding like just taking care of a household is hard work, man. I think if 2020 has shown us nothing else, we need a greater appreciation.
I can't wait to get a new cleaning person.
We need a greater appreciation for teachers.
Yes.
We need a greater appreciation for people who take care of our children, whether it's daycare workers or whatever. And we just need a greater appreciation for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's hard work sitting in the house with a whole family of kids and things like that. Whether you got 1 or 10, it's hard work.
How many we got? Because sometimes it feel like 10.
I mean, as loud as it being here, it feel like we got about 20 of them things running around. But look, I think at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think just because we have strong opinions about 50-50, that doesn't mean that the world is going to shift their personal thoughts on it. But, I think what works for us is we don't approach anything from that lens. It's all about what can each of us do and bring to the table to make sure, like, as a family, as a unit, we're good, we happy, we solid, we have what we need.
Yeah.
And just get the shit done. Like, don't sit around waiting for somebody else to do it because you think they need to do it.
Yes. If you think about, approach all situations, with your partner, with your household, with your parent, and about if everybody comes to the table thinking about what they can do versus what they can't do because somebody else should, you'll get a lot further. It's a better frame of mind to just view anything.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And like this whole lose the sense of entitlement, because nobody owes you anything.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Like if you with somebody, you chose to be with that person. So they don't owe you anything.
And they can't read your mind. So.
No. And that's the other thing too. It's like not everybody knows what you want. Closed mouths don't get fed. That age-old saying is true. So if there is something that you feel like that person should be doing or you'd like to see them doing more of, then the only way to get that is to speak up. Tell them about it. If they still don't do it, then that's another conversation. But at least you said something and they know how you feel about it versus this resentment growing in you or the house being dirty as hell. Like I could just remember like people years ago, like people being in relationships and like being in these like fights with their spouse. And like the house is filthy. He's like, well, I ain't cleaning that shit up because she don't never clean. All right, bro. So you just gonna live in a dirty ass house? Like somebody gotta clean up. We just gonna be like spiteful and vindictive about it, or somebody gonna step up and do it. So I think that's important. And I think people gotta get to that place, man. But I think.
And just really quick, to the men who grew up with moms who like they're true mama's boys, mama cleaned everything, cooked everything, washed everything, did all those things. Shout out to those kind of mamas. You truly have that kind of mama. But I appreciate that she's still taught you guys, or taught you how to clean, because it's not realistic. And if you didn't learn how to clean at home, then have her show you so that you can help, but don't just not help because you feel like you shouldn't have to.
And that's a bullshit excuse for a grown man.
Right. Like at some point you gotta figure it out.
Dad always told me, he said, you gotta break the cycle. He didn't believe in like blaming your upbringing or what people did or didn't do to you as like, all right, at some point you gotta break the cycle. You can't use that as an excuse. Right. Like, so if you weren't taught something in the age of 2020, Google. Everything can be learned if you want to learn tutorial. It. You know what I mean? So learn it. And I think, with my mom and my grandmother specifically, they used to they taught me how to cook at an early age. And my dad is the cook in the household, but they taught me how to cook. And they would always say, my grandmother specifically would be like, you need to learn how to do this, this, and this, because if you know these things, then you won't never have to depend on a woman to do them for you. So they gave me those skills as a young boy growing up. But then I still lived in a household where I saw my dad is like a master fucking top chef, right? So I saw, and my mom was like growing in her career.
Yeah.
And then like dad was the cook. Like we looked for him. Like we knew mom was gonna give us some bomb fried rice. And you know, she cooked me some fried potatoes or something. But the gourmet type stuff that we got, that came from dad.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And then when it came to cleaning, they both clean. Like on Saturday mornings, wasn't nobody sleeping in because my dad is blasting the music and he's like, all right, get y'all asses up. Everybody cleaning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like make your beds. We cleaning bathrooms. We doing this, we doing that. That's just doing what needs to be done. And there were times where he was the breadwinner. There are times when she's been the breadwinner, but they ultimately said, this is our household.
We do life
and
together.
We do life together, and we ain't talking about it being 50-50. So any of y'all who are just, if you only want to have the 50-50 conversation, it's never going to end well, and you're always going to be unhappy and pissed off.
Yeah. Especially once you have kids.
Yeah, because I mean,
because they're going to derail all that.
Kids changes everything.
They're going to derail all that.
Yeah, no. So I think this was a good chat. You know, I think if you didn't hear anything else, you missed all 45, 50 minutes of this conversation. The one thing you need to take with you, men and women, kings. I'm gonna say this shit again. God did not put you here to be asking a woman for 50-50. God did not put you here to be asking a woman to send you half on an Uber, on a dinner date or any of that. So please, cut that shit out. It is so unacceptable in 2020 that we doing this. We cannot go into 2020 still asking for half on dinner. You want her, pay for it. You'll be rewarded. I promise you. But you got to step up.
Nothing.
But anyways, we appreciate y'all checking in on this one.
Yes, thank you. Ladies, let or everybody, let us know where you stand in the comments. Are you pro 50-50? How you feel about the $200 first dates? Ladies, would you pay for your own first meetup? Not first date, first meetup if, you know, you just wanted it to be like an initial icebreaker. Fellas, would you ever let a lady pay for a date? Let us know how y'all feel about the topic in the comment section. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes, thank y'all for watching. Again, follow us on socials at Life Partner Gang, all the social platforms. Comments, like, subscribe, all of that. Give us other feedback about topics you guys want us to cover too. So appreciate y'all. As always, we love y'all. Thank you. I'm James.
I'm Tina.
And we are the Life Partner Gang.
Gang.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.